Hello and welcome to Anderson's cooking show. Today we're going to make some sourdough bread. What you'll need is a sourdough starter, something that looks a little like this. I call this one Festus. She's my baby. So basically you need to feed your sourdough starter. I'll do a different video for the starter. And wait a few hours until it's at least doubled in size. You can see this rubber band is where it was a few hours ago. Then you need your flour, water and salt. That's it. So I've measured 660 grams of flour. Now I'm going to add 15 grams of salt. I'm just going to whack that in there. 15 grams of salt, and then about 70% of water. So I'm going to do 465 grams of water. There we go. And then 100 grams of your sourdough starter. Now it's very important that you add it at this point when it is most active, so when it's doubled in size. So I'm going to go and add about 100 grams of that. And then just mix it all together until it's nice and mixed.
So at this point, if you want, you can use your hands, make sure they're nice and washed. And then you can just give it a good mix with your hands as well.
You want it well mixed, but not to the point where it's like you're starting to knead it. So you're just mixing it up until it's all one piece. Yeah, that should be fine. That's just all one piece. Then we're going to cover it and leave it for 1 hour. So it's been sitting for an hour, and now what we're going to do is called stretching and folding, and it's going to build the gluten, make it nice and strong. So just wet your hand so it doesn't stick to you, and what you want to do is you just give it a stretch, fold it over. And that's it. Cover it over and do this about 3 times every 30 minutes. And that's it. Stretch and fold. And so this should hopefully be the last one. And then I'll tell you the next step. So you do the last stretch and fold. And so basically the idea of doing it is to make it nice and strong. So now you can pull it nice and thin and it barely breaks. So now we've got it nice and strong. Now we're going to leave it out for probably about 3 or 4 hours, and we want it to almost double in size, maybe become 50% bigger. So we're just going to leave that for 3-4 hours until it gets bigger. Okay, it's been sitting out for a few hours. So now, what we're going to do is called shaping the dough. It should have about doubled in size, so you can see it's nice and big now. So we're going to take it out onto a clean bench top. Now you'll notice we don't need any flour at all. So you don't need to add any flour to your hands or the bench top yet. Now we're going to cut it in about equal parts, in half. Okay, and now we just want to get them into a bowl. So just fold it up a bit and flip it. And now what you want to do is you want to use the stickiness to sort of pull back and rotate, and that's going to create a ball if you just keep doing that. So using the grip on the bench to create tension on the surface. You just keep doing that for a few and you have a ball. Same with this one, just sort of fold it all in.
Do the same thing. And now,
you have 2 balls. And you're going to let them rest just for about 5 or 10 minutes. Okay, so now we're going to get them ready to put inside a little something something so it can form its shape. So you can do a round shape like a bowl, or you can do a longer shape like this. So first of all we're going to do the round one. Basically just keep doing what you were doing before. The idea is to get as much surface tension as you can. You want it to really be tight, and that way it's going to keep its shape when it goes in the oven later, and it's going to rise nice and good. So you want to get a tea towel and just put a bit of flour on it so it doesn't stick. Get it as tight as you can. And then this is the most important bit. Just got to pat it a little bit like this.
And kiss it?
That comes later. Okay, once you've shown it some love, put it in upside down in the bowl. A little bit more flour. And just cover her up nice and softly. And then it can go in the fridge for up to 24 hours, or you can leave it on the bench for about 3 hours and then it'll be ready to bake. So either one, whatever works for you. So that's one. Now we're going to do the longer shape. So you're going to get your tea towel ready. And it's basically the same principle. You're just putting it in a different shape, but you want to get as much surface tension as you can. So for this one, I'm going to put a bit of flour on the bench. Because we're going to... You don't have to do it like this, just as long as you get it the right shape with good tension. But this is called something. I don't remember what.
Stretching?
No, something. This is one way to get the shape. Make a bit of a rectangle, like that. You just fold it over. And you roll it. And this rolling is what's going to get the tension. Roll it nice and tight. So now you've got that shape and it's nice and tight. So you put it in, and now just to keep it tight, we're just going to stitch up the seam. So just kind of stitch it all up together. So now you've got the right shape and it's nice and tight. So fold it up over. And I'm going to put these in the fridge for about 8 hours. Again, they can go in the fridge for up to 24 hours. Okay, so now we're moving on to the cooking. These have been in the fridge for about 8 hours, just pulled them out. And the oven's been preheating on 250 degrees for about half an hour now, with the Dutch ovens inside, so they're going to be really hot. So once that's preheated, we can now move on to getting our dough ready. All you want to do is take it out onto some baking paper. Carefully take off the whatever that is, tea towel. Get some flour. This is more for just aesthetics, but it's whatever. Just rub it in good. Then you need a really sharp knife, like a Stanley knife or a razor or something. And we're going to do what's called scoring the dough. So it cuts it into a special way. When it rises equally and in a controlled way. If you don't do it, it'll just break into different pieces. So I'm just going to do 2 cuts like that, and then 2 cuts like that. So now it's just going to rise equally. Now do the same to your other one. Open her up. And add the flour. And this one I'm just going to cut into the side here. Nice and deep. So that should open up like that when it rises. Okay, and one last thing before we put it in, very important. Give it another little pat and just tell it you love it. Now they go in the oven. Now, basic rule of thumb, hot stuff burns, so don't burn yourself. Chuck her in, put the lid on, very important. Okay. Still at 250 degrees. We're going to put it for 25 minutes and then take the lid off and then cook it for another 15 minutes at a bit of a lower temperature. Alright lads, 25 minutes in. We get to take off the lid. Okay, so you can see it's risen quite nicely. Looks good. This one, yeah, look at that. Beautiful. So now it goes in for another 15 minutes with the lid off. Hopefully it'll get nice and golden brown. And make sure you just turn it down to about 220. Otherwise it'll probably burn. Alright, 15 minutes. Okay, so it's been baking for about approximately 45 minutes now, so it's time to check on them and take them out. Let's take a look. There we go. Beautiful. This was Anderson's cooking show.
Produced, directed, filmed by yours truly.